Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the big news that dropped. MiniStravaganza 2 is official, and it is coming to us September 9th through the 11th of 2021 from Atomic Mass Games' Twitch channel, Atomic Mass Games. Well, I said Atomic Mass Games a whole bunch of times, but yes, so that's what's happening, and it's nice that they've actually officially announced it now. It's officially kicked off, and I'm going to be bringing to you all of the coverage. If you guys are new here to the channel, be sure to enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway just by being a subscriber, leaving a comment on this or one of my videos. I actually want to hear from you guys on what you're really looking forward to seeing this time. What are some of your predictions? If you haven't already, you can also check out some of the links in the description below. You can jump in Discord. I'd love to keep the conversation going down there. If you want to join our Discord community, we're very family friendly and we have different channels for a lot of the different games that I cover. So love to have you down there. There's also links for social media, Patreon, Crabbok.com. We got a lot of free content on there as well. Also, talking about the links in the description below, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. If you haven't already, check out luxuryplaystyle.com. They have amazing gaming tokens. They are full metal designer tokens. They are available in a variety of finishes. We have a lot of the X-Wing tokens out here right now. We're actually working on some Legion tokens that are going to be super, super awesome. And you're going to save 15% by using code Crabbok VIP. Also, while supplies last, $35 orders or higher are going to get a free lightsaber nunchuck token with the little Crabbok symbol on there. They're good for damage counters. They're good for marking critical hits or marking commanders. You're going to love them. And plus, you're going to be like one of the coolest people in the room if you've got a lightsaber nunchuck token on you. I mean, you really are. So check out luxuryplaystyle.com and don't forget that code to save 15%. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the MiniStravaganza. What is this going to mean? When is it? So September 9th through the 11th. That's actually going to be on a Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday. So that is going to kind of start the weekend a little bit early. And of course, I know a lot of people are working. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'll be restreaming the relevant Star Wars information. And this is something that I've done lately because it's been pretty helpful. Back from when we had our first digital Gen Con, or even going back to the other Gen Cons when when FFG used to do their live streams, a lot of time, once upon a time, they basically stopped streaming them, and the only way to see them was through other people streaming them. So a lot of content creators would either live tweet announcements or restream it. When I started going to Gen Con, I was restreaming all of these events. And then for the digital Gen Con they did back in 2020, they had a lot of technical difficulties. So like a lot of the streams were cutting off, and a lot of people didn't know what was going on. So I thought it was kind of helpful to have my kind of restream open, because then I could kind of talk about, we could talk about it in the interim instead of just having dead silence for like 30 minutes while they figure it out. But also, in addition to doing that, and you can watch there. Some people don't have access to Twitch. I know, I used to complain sometimes that, I didn't have a Twitch account for a little while. So I was like, well, I prefer to watch on YouTube because Fantasy Flight used to stream on YouTube. So some people prefer one platform over the other. So I'm going to be doing that, but I'm also going to be bringing you guys the highlights and kind of wrap up videos. So if you want to watch some, or maybe some people like to watch on both platforms, talk with different communities, you're more than welcome to do that. But of course, if you're a Twitch user, this is the channel that they're going to be hosting some of this content on. I think it's also really helpful because sometimes there's a delay on when things go live. So you can't necessarily rewind on Twitch, I don't believe, because I haven't been able to figure it out yet, because I don't think you can rewind until it's all over and then it becomes a video on demand. And so, it's nice if they say wait, were they supposed to do that? So this way we can kind of rewind and see what happened if you'd like to do that. But I'm going to be bringing you guys coverage of all of these events and any relevant news that comes out. So I think we kind of want to estimate or guesstimate on what we think they're going to be talking about now. If this is similar to last year's, or I should say not last year's, the earlier in this year's MiniStravaganza, it's probably going to have a lot to do with painting, because that was a big part of what Atomic Mass Games tends to do. Most of their live streams that they do are them painting minis. I mean, they are a minis company, so there's a lot of painting minis. So if you like to watch people paint minis, this is going to be a dream come true for you, because my guess is that they're going to be talking a lot about some of the new minis. And at the same time that they usually paint minis, a lot of times that's a good way for them to show off new minis. So my guess is that at least 50%, if not closer to 60%, of the MiniStravaganza will be exclusively Marvel Crisis Protocol minis, because that is kind of Atomic Mass Games' their baby, right? That was the game that they launched, that launched them as a company. So I would expect there to be a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff revealed. I do expect to finally see Juggernaut, since he was printed on one of those affiliation cards. He's like one of the only characters that he's one of the very few characters I think that we know for a fact is coming, but we haven't seen anything about yet. So I think that's kind of my big prediction. Also, Sentinels. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sentinels show up. So I think we're going to see some more X-Men stuff, and so that will be fun. Maybe something related to Shang-Chi also, because that movie comes out the first week of September also. So maybe we'll see some stuff from Shang-Chi. Maybe Abomination, because I think Abomination is in the trailer for Shang-Chi. So those are some of my Marvel Crisis Protocol predictions. But I think a big part of this is to also talk about, well, what you guys are probably here for is the Star Wars content. What's that going to be? First off, my general prediction is that we're going to see the rest of the minis for the Legion Kashyyyk wave. That means the big snail tank and also the big swamp speeder for the Republic. So the Separatists are finally getting another tank. I'm guessing it's going to have open transport. I don't know if they'll show us unit cards just yet, or if they're just going to kind of spoil the minis and maybe talk about the vehicles a little bit. But I do expect that we will actually see, the snail tank being painted, because they can do a big stream painting a large thing, a really large vehicle. They can pull out the airbrush and do all kinds of stuff like that. That's definitely something that they can do. They might do some Wookiees. They might do, I don't think they'll do a Yoda, because they kind of did Yoda already. So I think they'll take this time to paint any minis from the Kashyyyk wave that they haven't done yet. So I think we've seen Magna Guards. I think we've seen, super tactical droids already. So I'm thinking Swamp Speeder and maybe some, I don't know, maybe we'll get a look at whatever the next wave that Luke Eddy was working on. We might get a preview of that. I don't know if, I'm just not sure if, Luke Eddy's next wave was not, because this whole Kashyyyk wave was apparently Alex Davies' wave from, back from Fantasy Flight. So that kind of gives you an idea of the time, like how long it takes to kind of get things, designed and then, get some minis in hand. And of course, this wave still isn't even out yet. So, so I'm curious, we know that there's at least one more wave of Legion in the works past the Kashyyyk wave. So it's really going to be exciting to see what they preview for us. I'm not sure if they're going to preview that just yet. There also may be some type of live event. And what I mean by that is, like when we had the last MiniStravaganza, they put out like this, this alternate rule sets for like a scenario for X-Wing and Legion and Armada, and I think Marvel Crisis Protocol 2. Every game had like, hey, play this and report back your results. And that was pretty cool. It's not something that I'm particularly interested in doing, because I usually like to play the standard games, but a lot of people were doing that. A lot of people like to play those scenarios, and it wouldn't surprise me if there is a new scenario out there, kind of with a common theme amongst all of the games. And it may be like overwhelming forces. One person plays with 150% of the points of the other person, but the person with less points has some kind of advantage because they get to shoot twice, or something like, or something to that effect, right? So it'll be really interesting to see kind of what they come up. Wouldn't it be funny if I just guessed it exactly? No, but yeah. So I expect some kind of event like that kind of gets people to play. Although the strange thing is, you probably, if you're watching all these events that's going on all weekend long, what time do you have to play? So it's probably going to be something that people play a little bit more after the con and then report back. But maybe there'll be some people playing games like during the con. I call it a con. It's more of an event. It's not really, but it's taking place around the same time as Gen Con, and so that's kind of the timing for it. So that's kind of some of my thoughts for Legion, is that we'll see the rest of the Kashyyyk wave, and then maybe some hints as to what else is coming after that, or maybe not. I think we have to manage our expectations a lot right now. I also would think it'd be pretty cool to meet any new developers that may have been hired. I know AMG put out a hiring call for some new developers after Luke Eddy and John Schaefer were let go, and so it's going to be interesting if they have any new personnel on board yet. I mean, I because of the timing, I'd imagine it's, if they just hired somebody, they're probably not going to be ready to do live streams and talk about their work, because they're like, wait, we're still doing the admin paperwork. We're not ready to. We don't even so. It may be unrealistic to meet too many new people, but there may have been some new people that have been brought on in the interim over the past couple of months. I'm not sure. I would imagine, I believe Michael Plummer is doing a lot of the Star Wars content. So I'm curious to see, what they have to talk about for Star Wars outside of Legion. So we know that for X-Wing, we know that the Razor Crest is kind of like the last teaser that they have kind of talked about. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something related to the Razor Crest, whether they have like a prototype for it, or if they have a mini in hand and maybe they're going to do maybe an unpainted version, or maybe they'll have a painted version. I don't know. So we know that the Razor Crest is coming. Everything else is really just speculation, though. Although I am going to go out on a limb and speculate that maybe, just maybe, we'll get a Republic huge ship, just because Clone Wars stuff has pretty much been synergistic, right? Like there's been some symmetry between the releases that have come out for the Clone Wars, and now we got a Separatist huge ship, but not a Republic huge ship. So it stands to reason that there could also be a Republic huge ship that was developed at the same time that may now be ready for the public's consumption. So that's going to go on the record as being my prediction as for the big X-Wing reveal. Razor Crest, of course, they already spoiled that was coming, but they said it was far out. Maybe this has been long enough. Next thing, maybe a Republic huge ship. Anything else? I guess we'll just have to see. I know there's a lot of 2.0 reprints that still never happened. I don't know if they're going to talk about like what the plans are. But then speaking of plans, let's talk about Armada, because that's really the big question mark. There's been a lot of people saying, well, what is the future of Armada? Is Armada 2 was it, there's a lot of people saying it's, there was nothing in the pipe. I've had a lot of people tell me that, there wasn't anything else for Armada at FFG when it went over to AMG. So it's not like they had anything ready to go. With that in mind, I think we need to manage our expectations for Star Wars Armada, because if Atomic Mass Games, was just given 3 games all at once, but this one there was nothing ready to go for, but the other 2 there were, it's probably going to take a lot longer to get something developed and published and printed and then shipped. Shipping is a freaking nightmare right now. So yeah, it's going to take a lot longer to get something ready to go for Armada. So I think we need to be, manage our expectations. What I would love to hear, though, is what their plans are for Armada. Are they planning on continuing it? Are they planning on letting it sunset? Or are they planning on doing some kind of interim thing? Like, hey, you know what? We don't have any ships lined up right now, but we're working on other things, other types of content. That could be campaign packs, that could be card packs, that could be titles and things like that. Like cardboard is a lot easier, a lot cheaper to produce. So maybe that's something that they could work on. You still have to develop it, though. So there's still a time sink in there, because you have to have people, they brought a lot of new people on. People have to learn the game. People have to kind of analyze, all right, what, where are the gaps? What is needed? What's not needed? And then they have to get stuff play tested. And then that still can be a long process. So I don't know if they will have anything to give us or to show us or to preview us for Armada just yet, although there's plenty that we could get. I'm just hoping that at least they talk about it. Now, they are going to be giving us a timeline of events, and that is going to be coming out at some point. So I'll talk a little bit more about the events and how that has shed some light on expectations when they do publish that. So I'm kind of nervous. I'm nervous that they will not talk about Armada at all, and that will be kind of really bad. But but I'm also hopeful, because maybe there will be, some good news. Speaking of other good news, too, there might be finally that Steve Horvath talked a long time ago about Atomic Masses Games game number 2. This was before the Fantasy Flight Miniatures studio was kind of consolidated and sent over to AMG. But AMG was already working on, I guess, a second game. And so I'm really interested, because I really do enjoy Marvel Crisis Protocol. Even though I cover more of the Star Wars games, I really like Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I play that one more for fun and really don't cover that one as much. But it's a good game. So these folks can make excellent games. So I'm really curious, what's next from Atomic Mass Games? Is it something Star Wars? Is it something Marvel? Is it a different IP altogether? Is it maybe one of the Asmodee IPs? Maybe is that something Twilight Imperium? They have that Twilight Imperium RPG coming out. What do they have coming out? And so I'm really anxious to see that, because it will most certainly be a miniatures game. I would be really, really shocked if Atomic Mass Games announced a board game, and maybe we'll see some other news from Fantasy Flight also. And if that's the case, that probably will be during FFG's own stuff. But either way, I'll be bringing it to you. It's going to be pretty interesting. I want to hear from you guys, though, what you're expecting to see, what you're hoping to see, and what do you think about the MiniStravaganza. So hopefully you'll watch with me. I want to thank all my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. So thank you for your continued support. Always remember, when crossing the street, don't be afraid to run as fast as you can, not to get hit by a giant Batmobile, because in Gotham City, the Batmobile goes really fast.